Hey, welcome to the Cam Otis Show. We're a father-son business podcast where we talk with other lifelong learners about making an impact and solving big problems. And today we're fortunate enough to have with us Wendy Romeu, and I hope I said it right because we did a dress rehearsal that we had to throw out the window. And Wendy, it's great to have you. And before I get to my question, I want to get my other speaking test out of the way for the day. Alluvionic. She is CEO, president, and founder of Alluvionic, which is what I always love when we've got a founder who's been. This isn't startup world, folks. This is running a successful business. Wendy, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, 10-year anniversary, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Did y'all? I mean, what is that? Is that diamonds?
It should be. It should be. But we're moving into a new office this year, so that's how we're going to celebrate it.
Oh, is it like a higher level floor? Has it got better views of the beach or what?
Water views of the river. It's twice as much square footage, and the conference rooms are absolutely beautiful. One of them will have an airplane wing in it.
Ooh.
As the table.
Awesome. As the table. I've seen
Yes.
that. That is so cool.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's it. I'm not that I wouldn't work for you, but I'm glad I don't because I would be distracted. If you had me sitting in your meetings, you would just see me wandering off in the mind of the water and the space. I've found myself in that boat many times in some really awesome conference rooms. Like, I go into Charlie Brown mode where everybody else is the want, and I'm just sitting there going, mm-hmm.
Hopefully our meetings are so engaging that people will stay engaged, but they enjoy the before and a little bit of beautiful water, get them relaxed.
There you go. It sets the tone though. There's something about it, the environment, without getting into the psychology of it, but the environment that we set up that will help people have the right attitude. So when you think about your conference room, and in that sense, you're gonna set the conditions for free thinking because you're gonna have this beautiful view, which gives people thinking about everything else going on in the world, not the old classified behind the green door sort of thing when you're locked in the blinking fluorescent light conference room. This is going to be great. So, but before we get to the great and moving into the new thing, why'd you start a business? What made you say, I'm getting tired of other folks doing it. They don't do it right or whatever, and I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the main reasons why I wanted to start the business is I wanted to have an impact on employees, my customers, and our community. And I felt like starting the business was going to help me create a vehicle to do that. Mm-hmm. So we do a lot of things, of course, for our customers, and that is, a really focal point for us. But we're also making a big difference with our employees. And then by doing that, keeping our employees happy, we're getting new customers and growing. We're able to do a lot for not just the community that we live in, headquartered here in Brevard County, but also the communities that our employees live in. We have employees across the whole United States. So we want to make sure that we're doing great things in their communities as well. So that was really a big push for me. And we're 10 years in, we're actually seeing that vision come true. And it really is amazing.
Did you go to the business side?
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
Did you go to the business side of that impact right away, or was that further down the list? Because a lot of people, when they think about impact, don't go straight to entrepreneurship, don't go straight to starting a business.
So I think I've always been driven by making an impact. I've always been involved in nonprofits. I've always tried to advance the companies I worked for. And wanting to work on projects that mattered. So I think that was just really internal for me on business side and professional side and my personal side. So that just seemed natural to as I started the business to be the focal point for us.
Where'd that come from? I mean, is that something about the childhood you had, or what? Where'd that giving, reacting, giving to the community part come from?
Yeah, so I had to grow up very early. I say early. I was young with a lot of responsibilities. My dad was in the Army, so he was deployed a lot. Um, my parents, they got divorced, so I didn't get a lot of time with him. And then, so I grew up in an environment that created this need to be responsible much earlier than I should have been. So that, having that kind of embedded in me very young, and that responsibility, and then wanting to help, needing to help for whatever reason, really is just how I grew up, and that has impacted me ever since. And then I do have, children with disabilities. So knowing how that has impacted our life, and giving back to that community as well. So it really just has been a golden thread throughout my entire life. He's thinking.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry, I know I'm lagging that, but I didn't have one there. Yep.
oh, well then, you see, Wendy and I were both going with it must be a lag, but it obviously we'll have to do the 2-finger signal or something like that, folks. Technology is great except for when it doesn't work.
Correct.
But, so what I'm thinking about this, and Wendy, is how do you? Everybody says that, right? I'm calling a spade a spade. Everybody says I want to give back to the community. I want to do. How do you measure that for yourself and your team?
Well, it's I think easy to measure. We have a lot of our team members on different boards. So, quantity of boards. And then we also, an example where I think we do a great job of giving back is we are involved in veterans organizations. So one in particular is SkillBridge. We bring in SkillBridge people that are transitioning out of the military into industry. We bring them in and we give them that transition period that they need to understand what industry is. And we've been very successful to hire a couple of them, which has been such a success story for us. And even the ones that we're not able to hire for whatever reason, we have helped them find positions, help them with their resumes, help them with that transition, because that's a really difficult transition, which I've seen personally, again, with my dad retiring and living in Brevard County. There's a lot of retiring military people here. So I've seen that transition be difficult. So we have the numbers that way. We also participate in several 5Ks throughout the year. We, attend fundraising events. So we have the numbers that back up that we actually do give back to the community. We make sure that we're not just giving back to the communities that are the associations or nonprofits that I care about. It's about what our employees care about as well. Again, being in where they live. So we make sure that we're reaching out to them, making sure they understand that they have the ability to request contributions or request, for us to pay for them to be in a 5K with the things that matter to them. So I think we're doing a good job with that, and we'll continue to keep that in the forefront of our culture. And as we grow, make sure that all of our employees have that opportunity.
How do you manage that? Because when you have a passion for something, we'll just say veterans, because that's an easy one for me too. There's a gazillion of them out there, and once a week or so, it's like, hey Otis, could you help us with this? Hey Otis, could you help us with this? We'd really like to do this. How do you and your team, truthfully, because you're leading the team and setting the example, manage that to where it's not everything you do becomes that?
Well, because we are a project management company, everything we do has project management applied to it. Mm-hmm. So we have a couple of great tools that we use. First place, we have people that's part of their job description is managing all of the events that we attend, whether they're business events or charity events. And then we go through, there is an approval process. So we make sure we're going through that process. We have a tool, it's called Smart Sheet, and we make sure we put everything in that tool. We have the approvals go through an automated process so it doesn't take a lot of time. And then there's a a meeting periodically where we review everything on the list. So it goes through that process, and then we make sure that, again, we're managing things depending on the event and what we're doing and our participation, whether we're a sponsor or just a participant. We make sure that we are doing the things necessary to support that event and the people that are going to participate in that event or that fundraiser or whatever it is. And again, we use tools, project management tools, to manage those things, because it's not just the money, it's also the time, right? We can't have people spending all their time on this. So we've streamlined those processes and techniques so that we can manage those things in an efficient way. But that's just what we do. That's kind of who we are anyway. So it was kind of natural for us to do it that way.
What kind of impact do you think the focus on giving back to the community has on your team and, their engagement, their excitement to work, and those type of things?
Yeah. So first, I think it shows our team that we care about what they value, and it shows them that we're not just, we're more than just a business. We are a family. That is our first value, is family. It helps with engagement with their community. So, for example, Brevard County, it shows, we have Alluvionic out there in a lot of different areas. So they're engaged with our employees are engaged with them. It creates a stickiness to the community, which helps us retain people, and to the company, because they know the company is going to support the things that they care about.
Why project management? I mean, man, you caught me on the day. It must be just the right amount of coffee going in, or the weather change. I don't know. We're supposed to get snow here tomorrow.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you wouldn't know anything about that down there in Florida. But here's where I'm going with this, because women in your role, not just CEO, because there's plenty of great women CEOs that I've worked with, I know, good friends, but project management, I mean, it's truthfully, it's kind of a guy field. Why are you a project management nerd?
That is a great question. So I think that I have a passion for getting things done and for making an impact. And the way to do that is to have a plan, to have everything organized, and to have expectations set, because any type of project and everything, every company, every family, every aspect of our life have projects associated with them. And every single one of them, it's about setting expectations and resetting those expectations as you go along, whatever that project journey is. And I feel like I have the ability, and the company has the people in the company have the ability we have the emotional intelligence required and situational awareness ability required to see when things are shifting within a project. So because of that, we're able to reset those expectations. We're able to organize things in a way that makes sense, that is bite-sized for the teams that we're leading, and lead them down this journey of a successful end of whatever that project is. And it might not look like what was intended for the beginning, but it's about resetting those expectations along the way. And yeah, I think it's just, being organized and having those extra skill sets is something that I have, and all of our PMs have. It's what we look for when we're hiring project managers. Everything requires project management, and we are able to grow our other capabilities based on it. So recruiting, for example, we have, again, all the tools for recruiting in place. It's recruiting somebody has a beginning and an end, which is, one of the requirements to be a project, and you are trying to find the perfect person associated with whatever task that you're trying to do. Those are all requirements and all setting expectations with the people that you're trying to recruit for. And we've mastered that. And we're continuously learning lessons learned from those different projects, and then putting those lessons learned in place. And then that's the other big thing, is constantly moving forward. So forward progress is another one of our core values. It's not just moving forward for our customers, our employees, and our community, but also within the projects that we are delivering. So the way we implement an ERP system today might be different from the next time, because we've learned lessons, and we are constantly getting better and deploying those improvements with every project that we do. So I don't know, I have a passion for it. I love seeing it from beginning to end. I love the impact. I also love, for big projects, seeing people in the beginning of the project and watching those transformations, whatever the project is. And at the end, a lot of these people are different, especially for those big ERP and software implementations. Some of them find their like new careers, and you see leaders elevate throughout the life of that project, whether it's a 6 month or 1 year or 2 year project. You'll see that transition of people, and coaching them and leading them through that transition is really just amazing for us.
What's ERP?
Oh, enterprise resource planning. So it's a big software system that might help or will touch all the different aspects of an organization, from accounting to materials to project management of projects inside your programs to HR, all of the pieces. So it marries all the pieces together into one system.
The thing that that a lot of people find difficult in every field is the kind of the doctor heal thyself type thing. So you're talking about the continuous improvement inside of the project and the completion of the project and all those type of things. How can you apply that same process to your business, to project management itself? You know, like improving the system, not just improving inside of the system.
Oh, you're speaking to my heart. Yes, that's exactly
no
what we.
crying about project management. I don't want any project management crying here.
That is exactly the entire point. It is about, and notice you mentioned this, continuous learning, right? So it's about always pushing forward and learning what you have done in the past. And so we have systems in place that we're constantly looking at, and we have a whole list of things that we want to improve at Alluvionic with our tools and templates and our internal business processes. So we actually apply what we do for other customers and other companies to ourselves. But that takes discipline, because what happens with organizations is they work, on the customer projects or for the customer, and they forget about the internal piece. And that's the part that's going to keep your organization healthy, is those internal process improvement activities. And we also do a lot of these activities for customers that are just trying to check a box to get a certification. So ISO or CMMI or CMMC. We help organizations get those certifications, but they might just be doing it to check the box. Well, we actually do it. We love companies that are doing it for the right reasons. Like, it actually makes them better. They really get it. Mm-hmm. And that's what we do for ourselves. We're constantly looking at the areas of improvement that need to be prioritized within Alluvionic, because everybody personally and professionally can improve. And then we prioritize those. We work on sprints. We actually make progress every single quarter on specific things that are measurable. And if you don't do that for inside your organization, you're not going to be a healthy organization.
I think you hit the nail on the head, and I'd love for you to share how you and your leadership team hold everybody to that process, because so many people, and I've got clients who do the same thing. It's you finish this one, you move on to the next one, and it's the next one, and it's the next one, and they never pause. How do y'all do it so that it becomes a disciplined thing that has to happen?
So there's a couple of different areas. So first, we have these things called rocks that we set every quarter for every single employee, and those are goals that they have to meet. And we try to celebrate the successes of those goals. And those goals are also often tied to incentive pay, right? What percentage of those goals did you meet? So we're trying to put it throughout the whole entire organization. And then quarterly we have an all hands where we do celebrate those successes. So we try to make sure that we're calling out all the things that we have done successfully, because usually you'll try to do, say, 10 things and you got 7 of them completed. That is really still a successful quarter, right? Because you got 7 things done, and you want to celebrate those, understand why maybe those 3 didn't get done, and then reevaluate and improve, either estimate better or get the barriers out of the way so those 3 can get done next time. So it is discipline that is part of our culture, and it is part of our battle rhythm of the business. So we have those meetings already set in place. We already have again, we use smart sheet tools where there's automatic emails that go out to remind people about those expectations and about the requirements. And then managers have one-on-ones with their team, each of their teammates, and they're talking about those goals. So it's part of our culture. It's part of our language. It's part of what we do. It's not just, well, let's give you this at the first of the quarter and at the end of the quarter, see if you accomplished it. It is something that is a conversation that's happening every single week of the year.
I think it'd be interesting if we could zoom in a little bit more to the personal side of that, because I think when you have the group and you're building in the systems to celebrate your progress and those type of things. I think in a group it can be a little bit easier because you can rely on each other to stay disciplined inside of that system and to create that time. I think on the personal level, it's a little bit more difficult. It's the whole of you always just want to be better than you were the day before. And that can kind of create a little bit of a negative mindset. And I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are on that and, what you can do to remain positive throughout that growth. Because growth is great, but also constantly desiring growth can create a little bit of a negative loop.
Yeah, I think part of the process has to be celebrating those successes and remembering you are better than you were before. And it's not just about growing tomorrow. It's about celebrating where you are today compared to where you were. And even sometimes you have setbacks and learning from those setbacks. So I think it's a constant just awareness of what you're trying to achieve and how far you've come is important. And again, having those conversations on a personal level, whatever that means to you, however you set that up, whether you have apps or you have conversations, or you might go 6 months and you don't meet any personal goals, and that's fine. Maybe you need that break. Also honoring what you absolutely need, right? When you talk about personal, sometimes you need time to just stand still, right? So it's about honoring what you have, constantly celebrating where you are, and then looking forward to what you can achieve and making sure it's in line with your values and your ultimate goals.
You hit on one of my favorite things: stand still, making sure you're taking care of your yourself. I talked with that. We talked about that last night on our veteran business leader mastermind call. Very, very important, because so many of us, most of us, anybody that's in my circle and in my tribe has an attitude of service, right? But that attitude of service will burn you out if you're not taking care of yourself. Which leads me to, you started the business and you started to grow. What was that first hire like? And by the way, your husband doesn't count as your first hire. So
that's great, because I didn't hire him until like year 3. So
he had to follow the long road to prove
he had to
himself.
earn it. He had to earn a place
right.
at the company.
Right.
That's right.
So what was that like? I mean, when did you come to that point and you kind of looked around and said, well, I could do more if I had more people, or whatever it was.
It was even before I started the company. I always knew this was going to be bigger than me. It was never, ever going to be just about me. And it was about the timing of when that was going to happen. I hired my first employee at year 1. Actually, it was a little bit before year 1. We celebrated dinner together, right? It was just me and her and our spouses. And then, and I always knew that we were going to grow. Like, it was never a question that was going to happen. And we're still, it's always the challenge of hiring too fast, right? You want to hire ahead, but you can't hire too fast because you need, that balance there. And I think we're doing a good job with that. And we have some pretty significant growth opportunities this year and throughout next year. So I don't see the growth slowing down. It's just me being patient and making sure I don't go too fast.
What were the triggers? I mean, and we can just talk about the first one, because I think that is very unique for every entrepreneur, is that trigger that is like, all right, that person who's XYZ I've known or whatever, it's time to come in. What was the trigger?
So the first trigger was I was traveling a lot. I had a big contract, and I was doing it myself, and I needed some support. And my first employee, she was a mom. She was a PTA president. She was in charge of all her Girl Scout troops throughout Brevard County. She was this amazing leader, and she was ready. She was a full-time mom, and she was ready to go back into the workforce. And she was going to take a job at a hardware store, stocking shelves or something. And I had gotten wind that she was going to do this through a friend of a friend. And I thought, oh my gosh, what an incredible person to have on my team. And she has the organization. She already has all the leadership skills. She had everything necessary. She just wanted to get back in the workforce. And she didn't have any. It'd been quite a few years since she'd been in the workforce. So it's hard to get back in, especially for moms that have taken that break from the workforce. And so I talked to her and I hired her, and it was amazing. And that really was a aha moment of, wow, we've got these amazing people that are transitioning from either careers, from one career to another, that need an opportunity or need a chance in this, project management or whatever the field is, or people that are transitioning from not being in the workforce for whatever reason, and now they're ready to come back and they're not being given a chance. And we gave those people a chance, and they have had amazing careers because of that. And again, that's part of the making a difference that the organization has been able to make. It's been the vehicle to make a difference for so many people, and that's just one other example.
I love that, because that's one of those when you talk about making a difference in somebody's life, that's giving them the groundwork in order to keep moving forward and move forward with their life like that. I'm curious, what do you think? Why do you think that's such a difficult thing for a lot of leaders to do, to give people that chance?
Well, this was 10-ish years ago, so I think back then the job market was a lot different, right? They maybe could be more picky. I think nowadays, leaders are more open to giving people that chance, or having to look a little bit deeper, because the workforce has been, it's been hard to find great people. So I think things have changed over the last 10 years, and I think there's more openness to looking beyond the traditional ways and looking beyond what the resume traditionally looks like. So I think that's changing. I think there's a lot of things that have changed in the last 10 years, and that's definitely one of them, because the landscape is so different.
Talking about those traditional measures, do you think that those type of, what's coming to mind is, to give the quick story, Dad, we did a video a while back talking about the study from Ivy League not project managers, but Ivy League business majors who went into businesses and they wound up actually driving down profits and all these different types of things, where it was basically like you have these people who have this supposedly great skill set, and then they couldn't actually deliver on it, or their skill set wasn't delivering what was promised, and those type of things. Do you think that project management is one of those areas where you need to check some of those boxes, or is it one where you can come in and be the right person type thing?
Yeah, well, I first think it depends on the project, but definitely, like the example I just gave, that stay-at-home mom, she was performing some pretty high-level project management skills and demonstrating those skills in some of the complicated things that she was doing. I mean, she was, having to lead a school organization of parents and teachers, and having the students' best interest at heart, the politics associated with that, and the projects, picking the projects and getting them through from beginning to end is a really hard task. So she was doing all those things, but she didn't have the label as project manager, but she had all the skills, the soft skills and the technical skills, Excel spreadsheets and keeping track of things and making sure things ended up where they were supposed to be at whatever, an event or whatever the project she was working on. So you're exactly right. If you look for people that have the skills or have things that they've done in their life that are transferable, that's why I love SkillBridge, because a lot of our transitioning veterans don't even realize the things that they've done. Well, first place, they might not even understand the industry terminology, right? So they've created this resume that people in industry don't understand because we don't know those words. But they've actually worked on things that are very transferable, but they don't know how to make that transition, and that's what we do for them. We help them with that translation, and we show them through SkillBridge these are the things that you were doing before, and this is how it applies to the outside world.
Would you
And
mind
again,
just defining SkillBridge for everybody out there?
sure. So SkillBridge is a program for transitioning veterans that are leaving the military. And so there's a period of time where before they leave the military that they can take a break from their active duties and they can intern with an organization. So it has to be an organization that's willing to have a training plan and spend this time with them and make sure that we're giving them what they need for that transition. We also give them time to go to whatever retirement activities they need to do, doctor's appointments, all those things, so that they can get through the paperwork of retirement. And at the end of it, whether it's 2 months or 6 months, they have a set of what they've done in the military has been translated to industry. So that helps them find a job. The hope is sometimes, well, we get to keep them, and we've actually got to hire a couple of them. The stars aligned, and that worked out for us. And then, I think it helps ease their anxiety of, okay, I've had this life for 20, 25, 30 years, and now what's my new life going to look like? So that helping them with that transition, although it's not perfect, I mean, it could be longer sometimes. We have helped that individual during that part of their journey, and it's a big deal. I think it's a special program, and I'm super happy that we're part of it.
Yeah, and that's great because it is a very, very valuable program. I work with a lot of guys who go through it in various aspects, and so thanks for explaining that. When you started off 10 years ago, did you look at the business as a project? And if so, what was the end state of the project when you started it?
It is a project.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did. It's a program with lots of little projects associated with it, right? So each year has a year-long project getting us to the end goal of the program. So we have, of course, revenue targets. We have, moving into this new building was always part of the dream. So and of the vision, but staying true to who we are and keeping the culture, that has been the most challenging thing. Making sure that our culture stays intact as we grow. The pandemic was, hard for all organizations, right? Because especially ones that we had a lot of people that were remote, but our core corporate team was not. And the admin and corporate team had, of course, to transition quickly, like everybody did. And it was important for us to stay aligned and stay connected, and we had to learn how to do that. And that was a project in itself. So yes, the whole entire Alluvionic is a program that is living out the vision that I had set, and it is I don't know the end state. All I know is that I can see clearly what the next 10 years looks like. Very clearly.
Cool. That's really cool. Yeah. So the next 10 years of growth. Go ahead, Camden.
Oh, so I was just going to say, so talking about viewing it as a project, and you're looking at that next 10 years, that actually kind of gets to my question, which is, we talk a lot about like the different types of CEOs. There's a lot of people who are great founders, and then they can't really build it up from there. Or once you build it up, they're not very good operators, but they can do everything else very well. How have you found your skill sets at that? And the fact that you said you're already looking 10 years ahead, I think you're probably comfortable in the operations seat, but I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so that's a fabulous question. We have about 3 years ago when I saw that I was the bottleneck, and we had a breakthrough with me being the bottleneck. And it was before that, but really 3 years ago was it really came to light, like I will be the reason why we don't grow. So we started implementing some processes and procedures that would create a team-led organization and pushing down the responsibilities and authority to my executive team. And, that's a journey in itself, and that is a project in itself. And that's really where we've evolved over time, but it's working. And there are things happening in the organization that I find out after the fact. I'm like, oh my gosh, they saw a problem and they figured out how to fix it, and they fixed it, and I didn't know about it until afterwards. Like, that is amazing to me. And by doing that, we're also growing our leaders and growing the people underneath them. And that also helps with our organization. So people see, because there's promotions happening, there's transition in the organization, but people see that there's a place for them to go and there's a future for them here. So I think that's helped with our culture. And I also think it's helped me. And I still get dragged back into the weeds, but we stop and I pull myself back out again, or they push me back out again, whatever the case is. And we are hyper focused on making sure that I'm living in my zone of genius, and I'm not staying in the weeds, because I don't need to do that, and we need to grow the leader. So creating this team-led organization is what is going to propel us through the next 10 years.
You mentioned showing people that path forward and that they can, see themselves rising up through the company and those type of things. I think that that's something that, all good leaders really want to, give somebody the path forward. You want to keep hiring or keep promoting from within and all those type of things. But what if you're not growing very fast? And I think that's an interesting piece there of creating those paths forward and being like, hey, Wendy, look, here's the deal. You're my COO. But I need to make about $5 million more before I hire you as the COO. What was your experience like with that at all? How have you found a way to balance that of creating the path forward, but also being realistic?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. First is it goes back to that not hiring too fast, right? So if the person's not already working for us, starting those relationships early and kind of planting the seed that once we get to a certain point, we would love to hire you, right? So that's one thing, someone outside the organization. Growing people within, it's about maybe not giving, I wouldn't say if, to an early career person, I envision you to be my COO in 5 years. I think I might have that in my head, but that might be too big of a stretch for that person. Plus you don't know what's going to happen, right? So it's balancing, seeing that they have growth potential and also investing in those people. So all of our people have plans, like training plans and growth plans in place. We have those conversations with them about what they want in their career. We also do this thing, it's a do-like matrix, where we find out what they do and they like, what they do they don't like, things like that. And that also helps with the career conversation. So it's about constantly having those career conversations at the right level. So, if we have an admin that is looking to go into marketing, we say, okay, well, let's take these steps in getting you training in these tools so that you can go down that path. I'm not saying that she's going to grow up to be the marketing VP of the organization in 5 years, but let's make baby steps for her that are tangible, that can see that she has growth possibility to get to a next level, whatever that is. And we're evolving, like I said. So there's positions that don't exist today that will exist next year or the year after. So we don't, and they've seen that. They've seen that with that growth, we've created positions that weren't even thought of really, as we've grown service lines, as we've grown within our capabilities, people that have to maintain those types of things. So they're seeing it, and it's good.
I just want to let Sally know, don't change your business card or the thing on your door yet. You have not. You still got more steps to go.
Correct.
Sally, when you listen to this, that's right. Gosh, I hope it's not really Sally. I have. With success always comes the desire for more success. How do you keep yourself focused on, you mentioned your zone of genius. what processes or people or tools do you use to bring you back in? I'll just give you the quick. Our friend RT, we had this same question with him a couple of weeks ago, or I guess a couple of months ago now. And RT entrepreneur makes really cool watches, right? But he's a good idea guy. And he'd walk by and throw out good ideas, and the team would start working on them, and they'd be like, I don't know what to do. How are you holding yourself from that? Ooh, we could do.
Yes, that's a great question. So we have a couple of different systems that we use. We deployed EOS. It's the entrepreneurial operating system. So I'm the visionary. We have an integrator. She's going to take a leave of absence, so I'm looking for a new integrator. Anybody that's out there listening, but what we do is any ideas that I have or that are even given to us, we put them in a Trello board, and so I don't just usually go to someone that's doing the job and tell them I want this done. It goes through this process. So it goes through this board, and then her and I meet once a month. And this is how I know I have a very long list of things that I want to do and want to fix because of this. We actually have a tool that's collecting every single thing, and anything that we hear or think of, we just put on this board. And then we meet once a month and we pull the things that we think we can work on and we prioritize. Some of the things we're already working on, or some of the things we'll just add to something a project that's already in existence. We'll just add that tweak to it. Some things are easy wins. Some things are longer term and they need to go on this, a more strategic conversation. So those things are brought to either a quarterly meeting or a yearly meeting with our executives, and then they help us prioritize, because again, there's so much to do when you are trying to grow a company, and there's always things that can be better, and there's always the next tool that you want, or the next person you want to hire, or the next system that you want to fix, but you can't do everything. My dad says I can do anything I want, I just can't do everything I want, which is I still challenge him on that, but it's true. You can't do everything that you want today. So it's about prioritizing those things. And my integrator does help keep me grounded. I can't do all those things because I don't want to stress my employees out. And that's the other thing that keeps me in balance, is making sure that I'm not overburdening the employees, because everything I ask for, that means I have to go do that thing. And if their plate's already full, that's going to get them out of balance, and they're not going to know what their priorities are. So really being careful about what we're giving to our team to actually execute. And then again, those usually go into their quarterly goals, and they're measured against them. And if something changes, we actually change them out. So we have the tools in place to make sure that we're moving forward, but not every idea that I have just gets added to the list of things to do.
In that kind of same vein, how do you see project management changing, looking forward? You talk about that next 10 years. You're already looking at the next 10 years, so I'm guessing you've got a handful of things there. So without giving out all the secrets, could you talk to us a little bit about where you see project management going?
Yeah, well, it's already changed so much in the way that we collaborate, right? The tools that we have for collaboration, I think those are just going to get better and better. I think that another area that it's gotten better is it's an actual profession. When I started a couple of years ago in my career, project management wasn't really a thing that people talked about. Like, people didn't say, "Oh, I want to grow up and be a project manager." But now there's whole degrees on it, right? You can get a degree just on project management. So I think the workforce and the respect for the disciplined project management profession is there now, and that's just going to become more impactful and more important over time. And people understand that now, where before, I think, you might be great technically, and they're like, "Oh, well, you're now a PM," and the poor engineer is like, how do you spell project management, right? So I think just the tools are going to get better, the people are more knowledgeable, the industry respects it more, and I do think there's some technology out there that's going to change the way project management is done.
That's the piece that I was kind of thinking about, if you're talking about like the tools improving and all those kind of things, it seems like project management is one of those fields where we look at all the technology coming, and there might be some big disruption, but it seems like y'all just get those like incremental boosts of, it's just like we're going to be able to measure so much better. The feedback loops are so much smaller and all those kind of things. Would you agree with that?
I think to this point, that's probably true. I think the biggest, one of the tools that have been the most impactful is Smartsheet. Because it marries so many different technologies and is so collaborative in a way that other tools are not. In my mind, it marries SharePoint and an Access database and Excel, and if all those had a baby, that would be Smartsheet. And it just creates, it really is a step above so many other tools. And it also can help you run a business. It can help you run, you use it for an intranet site. So again, when people are getting into project management, there are a lot of tools out there. Luckily, a lot of them have similar functionality, but that has so much functionality. It's so easy to use. I think that tool alone is a pretty big deal. And as it gets more and more known, people will understand. It can't replace necessarily Microsoft Project yet, because it's just so industry wide, and it's so accepted like by the government contracts, things like that. But it can do everything that Microsoft Project does. So there's a lot of tools that it can replace, and it's more collaborative. I do think AI will have a piece in this. And I'm already starting to see that a little bit. So yeah, I think technology is going to get faster and faster. The tools are going to get better. People are going to become more sophisticated at this. And again, industry is going to recognize project management as a career and as a discipline that is needed on every single project, not just, again, the engineer that is a really good engineer, he'll or she'll manage that project. You need a dedicated person that's their focus, working on managing risk, managing schedule, resources, expectations, communications, all the things associated with managing a project.
I find that interesting. Having taught it for a little bit, taught project management for a little bit, and just the aspect of working with the guys that I work with that are getting out of the uniform, and they do say, well, I want to be a project manager. I want to be a program manager. I'm like, okay, in what?
Right.
Which I always find funny, because it's like, yeah, I think there's a whole nother conversation there. But
Correct.
there's some value to that. But in that sense, it kind of makes me think of how do you, with Alluvionic, golly, my tongue getting tied up. I started off so good. Alluvionic. There we go. Third time's a charm. Alluvionic. How do you pick a niche in that project management space? Because it is truly in the academics agnostic to all industries.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have a couple of process improvement generically is, like you said, agnostic, right? Whatever you're trying to do, you have a beginning and you have an end, and you have to get there. So you can deploy all the PM practices, but we have technical expertise. So one of the disciplines one of the service lines that we have is cybersecurity, and we have project managers that understand project management generically, and we have the cybersecurity experts on staff that cannot do project management. And of course, our project managers understand enough cybersecurity terminology to make sure that they're getting everybody to the finish line. And those, with the team, there's a team, right? There's at least two people, and they're working together and making sure they get from beginning to end. So project management can be wrapped around anything, kind of like you mentioned, but you have to make sure you have the technical expertise as well. And depending on who your PM is will determine how much and how big the project is, how much extra technical expertise that you need. So for us, we've been pretty particular to make sure that we don't go too far forward in the projects that we pick to do, because now we are selecting the projects. People are coming to us and asking us, can you PM this? We want it to, whatever they're doing, to be successful. We're not, at this point, project managing, weddings or, events like that. We're staying on, the technical side and the process improvement side, things that we know that we can be successful in, especially when it comes to deploying things of a standard like ISO, CMMI, which is, a process standard, CMMC, which is a cybersecurity standard that the Department of Defense is rolling out. We know that we can get companies from point A to point B because our project managers and our teams are well versed in those frameworks. So we make sure that we have that infrastructure in place before we claim that we can PM those types of things.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you for explaining that and diving into that because, next thing you know, you're a wedding planner if you're not careful, right?
We're not. We can, but
That's right. Well, I'm looking at my notes and thinking, man, you said something, and not many people probably caught this because of where you said it and how the conversation was flowing, but it jumped out at me in that process improvement. And one of the things we have to do is estimate better or remove the obstacles, the barriers, I think is what you said, the way you said it. And that's so important for leaders, right? That's your job as a leader, as the project manager, as the leader, is to ensure that, hey, well, next time, what we guess at, because that's what estimating is. Sorry, project management people, but it's a guess. We guessed this. Next time we'll guess better. And by the way, did you have everything you needed? Did you get it in time? Was there somebody that's a bottleneck? So for me, that was what I learned. Camden, how about you? What'd you learn?
Yeah, for me today, I think it's something that, we talk about a bunch, but I think it's always really interesting to see, listening to Wendy, the way you answer just about every question it's the lens that you view the world through is project management. Everything that we asked, you're like, well, it's just a project. Oh, how do you do that? Well, it's a project, so I just project manage it. And I love that because I think it's something that is such an interesting thing. I think, Dad, we always talk about like life imitating rugby and those type of things. I can relate everything back to rugby and coaching and that kind of stuff. And I think it's always just cool to see that from somebody else's lens of it's like, no, it's all just project management. It's all just this. It's all just that. And I think that's such an interesting piece of perspective.
Wendy, how about you? What'd you learn?
Well, it's interesting because your questions, it's a reminder. It's a reminder of why I started the company, and really who I am through and through. Sometimes, you're just doing the things that you do, and I am a project manager. I am a giver, and I do. I started this to make an impact, and we are making such an impact. And I appreciate you taking the time to remind me of that, and have myself stop and celebrate that. That we are actually living the vision that I set out for, over 10 years ago.
Oh, that's awesome. How do folks find you and learn more about what you got going on? Maybe look at those job openings that you might have on your website?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is alluvionic.com. So it's ALLUVIONIC.com. We're on LinkedIn. So there's lots of social media out there on LinkedIn, a little bit on Facebook, I believe. And we have a great marketing team that takes care of that. Or you can email me at WROMEU@alluvionic.com.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time today, Wendy. This has been great and had a lot of fun hanging out with you.
Well, thank you so much. This has been fantastic, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Camden, run us out.
All right. Thank y'all for listening to the Cam Otis Show, and a special thanks to our guest, Wendy Romeu, for joining us today. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to pass it along to someone else that they can enjoy it too. Make sure to follow the Cam Otis Show on Facebook and Instagram, and you can watch full videos of the show on our YouTube page. And while you're there, make sure you hit that subscribe button too. As always, the full archive of our episodes available at www.camandotisshow.com. Thanks again, and we'll see y'all next time.